Okay, this is section 5.3, set 1. I'm going to do a couple sample problems. This is after school, so there's a lot of 7th graders, so there's a lot of background noise, but just try to ignore it as best you can. I'll try to talk loudly. I'm going to skip the first problem here, exercise 1. Hopefully, after I do some sample ones, you'll be able to go back and solve that on your own. So remember, this is the elimination method. So when we eliminate, we are adding or subtracting both equations vertically. They have to both be in standard form, and they have to line up. So ax plus by equals c, ax plus by equals c. And in this case, I'm going to add them together. Well, and I'll talk a little bit more about how do you know whether you should add or subtract, okay? I'm going to add them together because when I add a negative and a positive of the same amount, I know that they cancel out. So when I add these together, my x values cancel out. Negative x plus x cancels out. 3y plus 3y equals 6y equals 12. Then divide both sides by 6. Okay. And then you get y is equal to 2. Okay. Then the next part, you have to substitute this back in to one of the original equations, and that way you can find x. So I'm actually going to pick this one because I don't like to have negative x. It's a little bit confusing for some students. So I'm going to do x plus 3, and I'm going to take y and plug it in here in parentheses. So instead of a y, I'm going to put 2. So x plus 3 times 2 equals 12. Okay? And after a while, you should start to be able to solve this in your head. X plus 6 equals 12. What plus 6 equals 12? Well, 6 plus 6 equals 12. So x must be 6. So then put your answer, 6. I'm going to write the answer here. X equals 6. I'm not showing the work for that because I solved it in my head. So 6, comma 2. Remember, this is still a system of equations. In a system of equations, you need a coordinate point or solution point as your answer. Okay? And to check my work, negative 6 plus 3 times 2 does equal 0. So it works for both equations. So that's my answer for exercise 2. I'm going to go on to exercise 3. I'll go ahead and solve that one really quickly. Actually, I'm just going to set it up for you, and then you're going to have to solve and do the substitution. So am I going to add or subtract? I'm going to add again, so that way I can eliminate a negative and a positive value. I'm going to add these two together. These cancel out. 6x equals 3 minus, or 3 plus negative 9 is negative 6. And from there, you should be able to solve for x, put your answer here, and then solve for y, put your answer there, and that should be your answer, and then that will go here for your answer. Okay. Last problem. This one is a little bit different than any problem that we've ever tried, and this is where you have to decide, am I going to add both of them together, or am I going to subtract both equations? And when you subtract an equation, you have to be very careful with the negatives. So I can already tell you that it's going to take practice, okay? So why am I subtracting these instead of adding these? Well, because I don't have opposites. I have positive 4 and negative x, but those are not opposite. This would have to be negative 4x. Positive 3y and positive 3y are not opposites. They're the same. So when I'm going to subtract, so I can get 3y minus 3y to 0. I want to eliminate one of the variables. In this case, I'm going to eliminate y. So 4 minus negative 1, 4 minus negative 1 is actually 5x. Gentlemen, please check your volume. And then 3 minus 3 cancels out. It is nothing. And that equals negative 5 minus negative 10. So use a calculator. Negative 5 minus negative 10 gives you, actually, this calculator didn't work right. Scratch that. Negative 5 is minus negative 10 is really plus positive 10. You should have got positive 5. If you used a regular, let me try this calculator. Just because I want to show you that that it works. Okay, so negative 5 minus negative 10 minus negative 10 is indeed positive 5. Okay, and from there, after that, everything's the same. Just solve for x. X equals 1, and then plug that in here or here, probably here, to figure out what y is, and then put your solution here. Okay, so do I add or do I subtract? Do I add or do I subtract the equations? Oops, where did that go? Gentlemen, check your volume. Do I add or do I subtract the equations? Okay. When do I add or when do I? Actually, that would be better instead of do I add. When do I add or do I subtract the equations? Okay. When they are opposites, opposite signs, add them together. Okay. If they're the same signs, so like 3y plus, both are in this one, 3y and 3y are both positive. If they're the same signs, you're going to subtract the equations. Okay. Your other option would be you could multiply both of these by negative 1, and then all the signs would be different, and then you could add the two together. Let me quickly show you that. I know many of you already have the answer, and that might be all that you really care about, but just bear with me. If you are the kind of person that doesn't want to have to make that decision of whether I add or subtract, well, you can always convert this by multiplying both sides by negative 1, and that basically flips all the signs. So x minus 3y equals negative 10 times negative 1 is positive 10. Okay, and then I rewrite this equation underneath. 4x plus 3y equals negative 5. And now that I multiply both sides by negative 1, now I can add these together, and I'll get x plus 4x is 5x. And these cancel out, and 10 plus negative 5 is 5. So you see, it still works out. So if you would rather multiply both sides by negative 1 to switch all the signs up, then you can still add the equations together. And then if you do this up here, then you're always adding no matter what. And then you don't have to make that decision of whether or not I add or subtract them. But the key is you want to eliminate something. You want to eliminate one of the variables so you have a one variable equation so you can solve for the other variable. Okay? Any of these? 29 seconds. Oh, great. You should be able to solve all of these using the elimination method and then substituting to find the other one. Good luck.